Leadership is a word that we hear everywhere. We talk about leadership frameworks, leadership competencies, strategies, and outcomes, and so on and so forth. We admire dynamic leaders, charismatic leaders, high impact leaders. And yet, what is often missing from that conversation is something much more quieter and much more personal. Hello, I am Professor Kene Igweonu. I'm a senior executive leader in higher education, chair and non-executive director, and an all-round leadership development enthusiast. And I'm delighted you're here. What does it mean to lead yourself? I mean, not in a motivational slogan kind of way, not as a checklist for performance, but in the lived everyday choices that shape who you are as a leader when no one else is watching. This question has been with me for a very long time. As I've worked alongside colleagues, mentored emerging leaders, worked with senior peers across UK higher education and the non-profit sector, one pattern keeps emerging. The leaders who have the most lasting impact are not always those with the loudest voices or the most charismatic. They are the leaders whose inner life is well tended. And their values, their sense of self, their clarity of purpose, and their integrity under pressure, those are the things that make these leaders. These qualities matter, not because they are nice to have, but because they shape how we respond in the moments that define our leadership. The Leading Yourself podcast is born out of this conviction. It is a space to explore leadership not as performance, but as formation. Leadership not as external achievement, but internal alignment. Leadership not as something you have or something I have, but something you grow into with reflection and with intention. This podcast is inspired by the work of Clayton Christensen, particularly his book, How Will You Measure Your Life? In that book, Christensen posed a really important searching question. How do values, choices, and priorities shape a life over time, especially when no one else is watching? This podcast brings that question into leadership. In each episode, I'll be in conversation with senior executive leaders from higher education, from business, and public life. Not to hear polished narratives, and that's really important, not to celebrate titles or success stories, even though that's really important as well, but to surface honest, thoughtful, and practical reflections on leading oneself through complexity, through ambiguity, and consequence. So whether you're an emerging leader, a seasoned executive, or someone asking yourself what leadership really means in your own life, my hope is that these conversations will give you something to reflect upon, and something to return to, and something that stays with you long after each episode. So if you're thinking about how you want to lead yourself with integrity, with impact, with a clear sense of self, and not just visibility of role, the Leading Yourself podcast is for you. So look out for the first full episode, which is going to be dropping soon. Thank you for being here and listening to me. I look forward to taking this journey of authentic, values-led leadership development with you.